it's that time of the week again. Week 10 of power rankings. It's freaking crazy. It's been 10 weeks since I started doing my own power rankings. This is kind of cool. Very cool. And needless to say, again, we've had some teams that have gone up. Some teams have gone down big time. It's the up and the there's not a lot of real consistency with who's going where, and and again, I looked at some where I'm like I want to move them up higher, but I'm like the teams above them just they didn't struggle enough to we'll get to the reasonings behind. There's a couple teams that I really wanted to move higher, but I couldn't quite justify it because the teams that were above them, they didn't have bad enough weeks that would bump them down any further. So, but we'll get to that. We're starting out though, number 32. Again, a familiar spot that they are, and again, if you see me looking off camera, I've got I wrote down what what the records were for the week and everything. And they're in the same spot that they were last week, number 32. They just continue to drop like a stone. And it's Anaheim. I mean, what can you say about a team? They started off so good, and then they just went right off a cliff, and they continue to just drop. I mean, they are 1-9 in their last 10 games. They've lost 5 in a row now. They didn't win a game at all this week. They went 0-3. They've lost 5 straight now. 1-9 in the last 10. I don't know. You might see the number one. You might see the number one overall pick right here. Because, man, they are just awful right now. And I don't know what they can do to turn it around. I really don't. It's just getting worse and worse. Number 31, dropping one spot from last week. They ended up with, they did just as bad. They went 0-3. Losers of 3 straight, and if it wasn't for Anaheim being so bad, they'd be number 32. That's Chicago, the Hawks. So their only reprieve, and the only reason they're not number 32 is because Anaheim is so bad right now, and it's not pretty. But we kind of expected this from Chicago. We knew they were not going to be a good team. And so, this was kind of expected that this was going to be the area that they're at, because Bedard, Bedard's still looking good. He's still only in his rookie year, and it's growing pains for Chicago right now. What more can you say? It's kind of where they were expected. But yeah, if it wasn't for Anaheim, Chicago would be number 32. Number 30. Moving up one spot, they went. Where did they go? They went 2-2 on the week. So they were 500 on the week, 2-2-0. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10, but they lost their last game, Buffalo. So they moved up a spot, which again, you move up a spot, but that's again mainly because the 2 teams below you are horrible. It's not necessarily that you did anything that great, but, again, somebody's got to move up, right? So Buffalo moves up one spot. Number 29, moving down one spot. These guys went 1-2 this week, 4-5-1 in the last 10. They lost their last game too. Columbus. So the Blue Jackets. Again, these are teams that it's not that they're doing that great, that, they move up or move down. It's just the level of play, really, So, you got Columbus sitting there at 29, and it's kind of not right now. It's not really a surprise who the bottom four are and why they're there. Number 28. Now this is the shocker. These guys, they just slowly but surely keep moving up, because they're after a horrendous start. They've moved up. San Jose, another spot they've moved up at. So they're number 28 this week, and again, they're playing decently. They went 1-1-1 on the week. They did lose their last game, but over the last 10 games they've been 6-3-1. So it's good to see the gradual climb, because they were stapled here for a good while. It's kind of good to see them moving, slowly but surely moving up this bottom row here. So we'll see if they can keep that upward movement going. Number 27. Now these guys dropped. Now this is one of the teams that dropped hardcore. They went 0-3 this last week. 3-7 in the last 10. Losers of 3 in a row. A 10-spot drop for the Senators. Now I looked at this. I kept looking at this because I didn't want to drop them that far. I really didn't. But I looked at the teams that were behind them. A lot of the teams that were behind them, and I looked at what they did this week, and I said, I have to drop Ottawa. I have to drop them that far, because these other teams that were below them, they all did way better than they did. So that's why I ended up dropping Ottawa 10 spots. It's just because, they losers of 3 in a row, not winning a game this week, but all these other teams that were ahead of them last week, they all did much better than they did. So that's why I dropped Ottawa 10 spots. Number 26, moving up 1 spot. What did these guys do this week? They went 2-1-1 on the week, 2-5-3 in the last 10. They did lose their last game. And let's see here real quick. It was in extra time. I think it was either overtime or a shootout. It was one of the two. And it was, where was it? Where is it? Where are they? Of course, they're way at the bottom. They lost in a shootout. And that is Seattle. So the Kraken, still in the bottom row, but, they've doing a little bit better, just a little bit here and there. But, they moved up a spot, so not horrible. So, yeah, they're at number 26. Number 25. This team, I don't know, but this is weird. They're a team that literally up, down, up, down. What are we getting from these guys from one game to the next, 1 week to the next? This is a team they dropped 4 spots, and they've dropped into the bottom row, mainly because they had a 1-2 record this week, lost their last game. They're 4-6 in the last 10, and the fact they're in the bottom row is insane. Tampa Bay, what in the world? What is going on with Tampa Bay? I really thought when Vasilevsky came back that this was a team that was really going to start turning it on, and we're literally going to be a team that everybody was going to say, oh, look out for. It hasn't happened. It just has not happened. They've been so inconsistent. I don't get it. I don't get this is a team that honestly, they could miss the playoffs this year. a team that has been a perennial cup finalist, winning back-to-back cups, going to the finals 3 years in a row, and a team that honestly I thought was going to come into this season after losing to Toronto. I thought they were going to come into this season just pissed. That hasn't been the case. They're just, I don't know what's going on with Tampa right now, but they're number 25 and it's not looking good. Number 24, moving down one spot. These guys, what did they do? Where are they? They went 1-1-2 this week. 4-4-2 in the last 10. They did win their last game. But again, just move up one spot. Calgary. So the Flames, again, another inconsistent team. You just don't know what you're going to get. And they beat Tampa tonight. So, I don't know. I mean, well, I mean, again, what are you getting with Calgary? We don't know. They're a lot like Tampa. They're up, they're down. We don't know what type of team that we're going to get from one night to the next. Right now, they're number 24, and I mean, they did drop a spot, but did I say moved up a spot? No, they dropped a spot. They dropped one spot, not moved up. They dropped. So if I got that wrong, I apologize. Number 23, another team that dropped one spot. And they went 1-1-1 on the week, 4-4-2 in the last 10. They won their last game, Montreal. So the Habs. The Habs, of course, another good team. They had, so I think they played tonight. They had a good showing in a nice win against the New York Islanders. And they're another one of those teams. I mean, yes, they dropped even though they won, they dropped because some of these other teams behind them, they did a little better and they moved up, so it dropped them down. So, right now they're number 23, and that's, it's not horrible for them, but, it'd be kind of nice to see them a little bit higher. Number 22, moving up 3 spots. Even though they got absolutely shellacked by Toronto tonight, 7-0, they still moved up 3 spots because they went 2-1 on the week, 4-3-3 in the last 10, Pittsburgh. Now, I mean, again, they got destroyed 7-0 by Toronto tonight, and it was awful. It was ugly. It really was. But again, it's one of those things, where could I really have moved them back to? I mean, I could have maybe moved them. I could have maybe moved them below Montreal again, but I also again tried to look at the type of week that they had. So and they did have a little bit better week than Montreal, even though Montreal won and Pittsburgh lost. I just think, at least for this week, I think Pittsburgh is just a little bit better than Montreal. So that's why Pittsburgh is ahead of Montreal. But it's not by much. Number 21. Another team that moved up 3 spots. Now this was a team that I thought, I kind of wanted to move them up a little more. But again, it's the teams ahead of them. Can I justify moving them up over the teams ahead of them? I really couldn't justify moving them up any further because of what the teams ahead of them were doing. And they went 2-1 this week. They've won 2 in a row after a coaching change. St. Louis, the Blues. They fire their coach. They fire Craig Berube. They bring in their AHL affiliate head coach. And again, it's weird how you get this bump you get this coaching bump when a new guy comes in, and it's weird. It's really weird how that works, but it's just kind of how that works. And St. Louis, they're looking decent, and bumped them up 3 spots after winning the last 2, so they're sitting at 21. Number 20. This is one of the bigger movers, moving up 6 spots. Now they move up 6 spots mainly because they went 2-0-1 in their last. They went 2-0-1 in their this week. They won they won tonight in a shootout, and they've done or no that's the wrong team. That's the wrong team. Never mind. I was seeing the team ahead. I was seeing the team of the team above them. That's wrong. Yeah, these guys moved up 6 spots. They went 3-0 on the week, 7-3 in the last 10. Winners of 3 in a row. Minnesota. I was reading the wrong team. That's not that great. It's like, wait a minute, that's not right. They went 3-0 this week, 7-3 in the last 10. Again, a team that really had a good bump after a coaching change. The Minnesota Wild, moving them up 6 spots because they were down. They were at 20. They were 29th in the league a couple weeks ago. I think I had them. I think the lowest I had them a couple weeks ago. I think I had them. Yeah, I had them at 26 last week. I had them at 26 the week before. Yeah, week 7. Week 7 of the power rankings, I had them 30th. So they've moved up 10 spots in 3 weeks after the coaching change. Not bad for the Minnesota Wild. And again, this was the case of, could I move them up a little further? I thought about it. But then I thought, 10 spots in 3 weeks, though. Not bad. So, yeah, they're number 20. Number 19. Now, these guys dropped 3 spots. But again, it's not necessarily because they played that bad. They were 1-1-1 on the week. 4-4-2 in their last 10. Although they did lose their last game. Washington. So the Capitals dropping to number 19 after, and again, it's not that they had that bad of a week. It's just, again, the team's ahead of them. It just kind of happens, unfortunately. Just kind of like, the team that's number 18. I didn't feel real good about dropping these guys 4 spots, especially after the last number of games that they've played. They won 8 straight. And now they've lost 2 in a row, and I had to drop them 4 spots. Edmonton. And I did not feel good. I did not feel good about dropping them 4 spots. I really, really didn't. Because of the fact they're 8-2 in the last 10 games. They were on an 8-game hot streak. They were cooking. And I was really liking it. I'm like, we're finally seeing this team that we know is there finally kind of put it together. And the fact that they lost 2 in a row, I don't like the fact that it dropped them 4 spots. But again, it's the other teams that were behind them. The teams that were behind them, the weeks they had. So, that's why it bumps them down 4 spots, even though they were coming off an 8-game winning streak, losing 2 in a row, but had won 8 previous before that. So I don't exactly like the fact that I had to have them at 18. But again, some of these other teams, they had better weeks. Number 17, moving up 2 spots after a horrible run, after having a horrible last number of games, especially last week. They went 0-4 last week. This week they went 2-0-1. 4-4-2 in the last 10. They did lose the last game. It was in extra time. Where was that? It was, I'm trying to remember, did they play? No, they did not play tonight. But yeah, they lost. It was either overtime or a shootout. And again, after losing 4 straight, they went 2-0-1, Carolina. So the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, number 17. A little bit better week. Again, they didn't lose in regulation this week, where the Oilers lost 2 in a row. And again, it's like, I hated moving the Oilers down like that. But again, the teams that were behind them, they just had, a little bit better weeks. Number 16. Now this is the team that I really was wanting to move them up higher. But again, I looked at the teams ahead of them. And it just was like, because they went undefeated this week. They went 3-0 this week. 7-3-0 in their last 10. Winners of 4 straight. Nashville. I did. I wanted to move the Predators up higher. I really did. I wanted to move them up higher. But I looked at some of these other teams and where they were sitting, and the fact that, some of them didn't have the greatest weeks, but I didn't think that they were bad enough to drop them, massively like I dropped Ottawa. And it's just, and Nashville, moving Nashville up 4 spots, not bad. I did think I could kind of move them up a little. I thought maybe I could move them up a little further, but I'm like, ugh. It was kind of excruciating to try to figure out exactly where I wanted to put them. And honestly, I think I could have probably put them up a little higher. But, right now they're 16. Number 15, moving down 4 spots. Even though, again, this is a team, they didn't have a bad week. They went 2-1-1 this week. 6-2-2 in their last 10. They did lose their last game, though. The Islanders. Now, this was a case of, could I have put Nashville ahead of the Islanders? I could have. But I was also looking at where the Islanders were the week before. Because the Islanders, the Predators moved up 4 spots, but the Islanders dropped 4 spots. So, that means the Islanders were here. So, it's kind of like, how far do I want to drop a team? Even though they did not have a bad week. They did not have that bad of a week. 2-1-1. They still won 6 of the last 10 games. So, I didn't think I could drop them that hardcore. But it still dropped them 4 spots. Number 14. Now, these guys moved up 4 spots also. These guys had a decent week also. They went 2-2 on the week, 6-4 in the last 10, but they've won 2 in a row. Arizona, the Coyotes. So, the Coyotes are another one of those teams. Up, down, up, down. We don't know what we're getting from these guys. This could be this honestly could be a playoff team. It really could. They have been, they've been pretty good. And it would be very interesting to see them in the playoffs. Because if they make the playoffs, okay, are they going to sell that arena out? Are they going to cram 4,000 people into that arena to see playoff games for them? We'll have to see. We're still waiting to hear on an announcement for an arena. They apparently have got, this lot in Phoenix that they're all ready to build on. We haven't heard anything yet, though. We might not hear until after the new year, which I'm kind of expecting. be interesting to see exactly what goes on there. But as of right now, Arizona moved them up 4 spots. And again, kind of like Nashville, you just it's not an exact science, Number 13. Now these guys dropped 7 spots. Now I had a couple guys last week thought that I had these guys way too high, and especially after this week, I might have had them a little too high. Losers of 2 in a row. 4-5-1 in their last 10. They went 1-3 this week. And that's Detroit. So yeah, I might have had them a little too high last week. Especially with the results this week, I definitely might have had them a little bit too high. Now, they bring in Patrick Kane. I thought for sure bringing in Patrick Kane that was really going to, help them out. It really hasn't. They're 1-3. They went 1-3 this week. And I guess I don't know. I don't know about Detroit right now. Detroit is, again, we don't know. But they bring in Kane, and I thought that was going to be a nice little bump for him. It really hasn't. So, they dropped 7 spots. Number 12, moving up 1 spot. Now, this was the team that I was accidentally reading off as the record for the Wild this week. They went 2-0-1 on the week, 5-3-2 in the last 10, and they lost their last. They lost their last game in extra time, and that was Dallas. So the Dallas Stars. Some people might say that I have them too low. Maybe not. I don't necessarily think so right now. Because they did not lose in regulation this week. Going 2-0-1, but again, it's the teams above them. There's a good number of teams above them that had pretty decent weeks too. Otherwise, they would have moved up more. But yeah, right now they moved up 1 spot and they're at number 12. Number 11, also moving up 1 spot. Now these guys, they went 2-1 this week, 4-4-2 in the last 10, but they lost their last game, which was tonight. And they not only lost, they lost pretty big. Colorado. So the Avalanche are a team, honestly, they're a good enough team. They should be up here. They really should. Their issue right now, their goaltending right now is what they're. Even a lot of the Avs fans on Facebook have gone and said, our goaltending is not good right now, and they're right. Their goaltending has not been the greatest, and it's just they gotta find a way to turn that around if they want to get back up into this top row. They've got the talent. They have the talent. It's just getting it all together. And again, my computer is going off at some of the dumbest times. That's what's making that little noise. So if you hear a boing, that's my laptop with notifications. So number 10, staying in the same spot. Now this is one of these teams that I really debated. I couldn't move them down, but I couldn't really move them up. So I think they're kind of in right where they should be. They're 2-0-1. They went 2-0-1 on the week, 6-3-1 in their last 10. Vancouver. I don't think I'd used the Johnny Canuck logo before, so I figure I'll bust out Johnny Canuck tonight. And again, not a bad week, but they did lose in the in the early game today. They did lose in a shootout, and so I couldn't really. I didn't feel that I could bump them up, but I couldn't really bump them down either. And so I think right now Vancouver is kind of where they should be, right where they belong. And hey, top 10 for the Canucks at this point in December, not bad, not bad at all. I'd like to see them keep that run going. I'd love to see them get back into this top row. Number 9, moving down 2 spots. Now these guys moved down 2 spots, even though again they went 2-2 on the week. 6-3-1 in the last 10. They won their last game. But again, moving them down 2 spots because a couple of the teams ahead of them, Florida. So the Panthers are number 9 this week. And again, they're definitely looking better than they did last year. But again, they drop out of the top row. And they're still in the top 10, but they did drop out of the top row. Again, mainly because the teams ahead of them in this top row, the weeks they had were pretty darn good. Number 8. Now, I thought last week I moved these guys up way too far. But then I started thinking I might have had them way too low in the first place. Because I technically last week moved them up 15 spots, which I thought was way too much. Where they are now, I do not think is moving them up. I think the way they're going, they're doing pretty well. They went 2-1 on the week, 8-2 in the last 10. They've won 2 in a row. New Jersey. So the Devils back into the top row here. And again, 2 weeks ago, I think I had them way too low. 2 weeks ago, they were in such a rut. I had them down here. I think I had them at 28. And I thought it was crazy moving them up as far as I had done last week because I had them at 15. I had them at 15 last week. Week 8, I had them at 28. I had them way too low. Way too low. Because they went from 28 to 15 last week. And now, of course, they keep winning. They've won 2 in a row again. And now I think they're kind of where they should be. Sitting at number 8. Number 7. Moving up, another kind of surprising team, moving up 2 spots. They went 2-0-1 this week. They went 7-1-2 in their last 10, and they've won 2 in a row also. Another surprising team, and I'm liking what they're doing. Philadelphia, the Flyers. This is cool. I'm really liking what the Flyers are doing here. They are looking really, really good, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see them in the top row. Because this is a team that nobody really thought was going to be this. John Tortorella is doing a fantastic job with this Flyers team. He's got them believing. They believe in his system, and look the results right now are there. So, sitting number 7, not bad. Number 6, another team that's moved up 2 spots. They went 2-0-2 this week. 6-1-3 in the last 10. They had a huge win. Huge win over Pittsburgh tonight. 7-0. Toronto. So the Leafs are, they're another one of these teams. They can look good, then they can look awful. They can look good. They can look All you got to do is watch Steve Dangle's LFRs to see, whether or not the Leafs are good or if they're just So, right now, though, I'd say they're doing pretty good. Sitting number 6. Bumped them up 2 spots. Not bad. Number 5. These guys dropped 2 spots. Or, no, these guys dropped 4 spots. They were number 1 on the power rankings last week. Now they drop all the way to number 5 because they had they went 1-2 on the week. They went 6-3-1 in the last 10, but 1-2 this week. LA, the Kings, had them at number 1. At the end of last week, had them number 1. They went into that game against the New York Rangers, and the Rangers kind of took it to them. And so, and then of course, they've, not done fantastic. Going 1-2, even though the win tonight over Seattle in a shootout. It's Seattle. You should probably be you should be beating them in regulation, not a shootout. But yeah, drop them 4 spots. Some of these other teams though did pretty well too though. Number 4. These guys, not bad. 1-0-2 on the week. So they had two overtime or shootout losses. 5-3-2 in the last 10, and Boston. So the Bruins at number 4. They're another decent team. They're another decent team they're looking they have their moments, and they have their moments that they struggle, but again they're doing pretty well. And 19-5-5 as I go back to the standings here, not bad. But Toronto's right on their heels, so they definitely got to be careful there. But yeah, they're number 4. Number 3, moving these guys up 2 spots, and if they keep rolling like they've been, they could be number 1 on this ranking soon. They went 3-1 this week. They've won 2 in a row, 6-4 in their last 10. Winnipeg Jets. I'm liking what I'm seeing in Winnipeg. I really am. I want to see the Jets do good. I really do. I want to see the Jets do well, especially after those articles that kept coming out saying, we don't know if hockey can work in Winnipeg because they weren't selling out their games. They weren't selling out their home games earlier on in the year when they weren't that great. And articles started coming out. Are the Jets in danger of moving? And I read some of those articles and I literally was like, because I kept thinking, you're talking about hockey not working in Winnipeg while you have Arizona still there. It flabbergasted me. It really did. It literally wanted to make my head go poof. Hockey in Winnipeg works. Enough with the whole, we don't know if hockey's going to work in Winnipeg. Hockey works in Winnipeg. Knock it off, you morons who keep writing these articles. We don't know if hockey can work in Winnipeg. Don't even think about trying to say something like that when you still have the Arizona Coyotes in the NHL. That's kind of how I was feeling when I saw those articles. So, yeah, I'm liking where the Jets are right now. I'd like to maybe move them up a little further. I really, really would. Because they're a good story right now. And I really would love to move them up. I'd love to see them number 1 at some point. But not quite there yet. Number 2. Staying in the same spot. These guys went 2-1 this week. They did lose their last game. 6-1-3 in the last 10. Vegas. So the Golden Knights, staying at number 2. Yes, they got leapfrogged. They got leapfrogged by this team that's number 1. Of course, the Knights, the defending champions, looking good, and they're looking really good. But the team at number 1, back at number 1 again. They had a couple weeks off of being number 1. 3-1 this week, 6-4 in the last 10. Winners of 2 in a row. They're back at number 1, the New York Rangers. So the Rangers, of course, they spent 3 weeks at number 1. Then they had a couple of weeks where they kind of fell off a little bit. And then, of course, they have a decent week, and they leapfrog some of these teams, and they're back at number 1. So, and what can you say? The Rangers, it's weird to say that Jonathan Quick right now is the better goalie in New York. Jonathan Quick is the better goalie in New York. They have Igor Shesterkin. Jonathan Quick is the better goalie right now. Do we live in an alternate universe? What's going on here? Jonathan Quick was not supposed to be this good in New York. He wasn't supposed to be the starter. He's the starter. He's got Shesterkin riding the pine. Hockey. Who knew? But yeah, so the Rangers are at number 1 this week. Let me know what you guys think about the power rankings this week. Hopefully, hopefully everybody that tunes in doesn't just fast forward all the way to the end. I know there are a number of people that probably do that because they just, it's gonna happen. Me, I'm one of them where I'm just like, I like watching from start to finish. If it comes to power rankings like that, I love watching from start to finish. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the power rankings here. Do you think I have some teams too high? What teams do you think I have too high? What teams do you think I have too low? Do you think I have some teams in the right spots? Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, so let me know. Hit like and subscribe. And yeah, this has been the 10th week of Power Rankings. A lot of fun. And yeah, so again, let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe. I'll see y'all later.